Is sugar more dangerous than cocaine? According to a new study, our brain's reward center that's triggered by factors like drugs, sex, and sugar is also linked to basically our body clock. So when we eat this sugar, our clock's disrupted. It throws off our metabolism, puts us at a higher risk for obesity, all kinds of things. So Dr. Daria Long is an ER physician here to explain it all. Okay, so a lot of people at home are going to be like, step away from my donut. Do not touch my sugar. You actually say, hold on a second. There's some good times of day that you can consume sugar. Other times it can be dangerous.
Yes, absolutely, Lynn. And we do have to mention sugar is one of the most addictive substances that we consider totally socially acceptable because of how it triggers our brain's reward center and feels good. But the reality is our brain does not treat all calories the same. And if it's high sugar or if you're eating it late in the evening when our body expects us to be resting, it's more likely to be stored as fat and trigger more sugar cravings.
Okay, see, so you can have it, just have it earlier in the day. Perfect for donuts. Okay, you ever heat up leftovers in plastic containers? We've all been guilty of it. It's actually really dangerous. We've heard it before, but there's a new study that says it's not just because of the BPA or other chemicals in plastics. It actually could have devastating consequences on your body or your baby. So explain this, because many times people are heating up baby food that they've kept in their fridge or things like that.
Yeah, so I brought some props because we had these headlines a couple years ago about how bad BPA was. And, you know, I've been telling you the other new BPA-free chemicals are just as bad. They mess with our metabolism, our hormones, fertility, birth defects. So what I tell people, storing and cooking, just don't use plastic. Don't mess with looking at what chemicals are in it. Just use, I have a couple that I just grabbed from my kitchen here. This is glass, and then this is stainless steel. It's what I send my kids home to school with for snacks. If you're heating in glass or storing in these things, you're not going to be exposing yourself to the plastic.
I also do this with water bottles as well. Like I would imagine it's linked the same.
Yes, absolutely. My water bottle I have here today is a glass water bottle, and it has a rubberized outer surface. It's what I use for myself and for my kids. And for little kids, again, stainless steel sippy cups. The way to go.
And we talk about this all the time. Could there possibly be a link when we see an increase in cancer? You say fertility issues, things like that. Could it be as simple as plastics?
I really think so. I think when we heat things or when it goes in the microwave or the dishwasher, chemicals are released and that goes into our food. So it's plastics, it's also the BPA in receipts. So be very careful when you're handling receipts.
This final story I think everyone can relate to, right? We all feel burned out at some point, exhausted physically, mentally, depending on what you have going on. Well, new research says burnout could actually be linked to AFib. So this is even more dangerous, not just because AFib is dangerous, but AFib leads to stroke.
Yes.
So how did they find this?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is fascinating. I call this burnout, I call it crazy busy mode, because everybody talks about, I feel crazy busy, and we know that it feels bad, but now we have even more evidence that's related to heart disease, atrial fibrillation, which is instead of your heart going lub-dub, lub-dub, it just sounds like a crazy jazz band. That is a risk, and it's from this crazy busy mode chronic stress. But it's not as impractical as saying, you know, go for a month of silence in an ashram. We can't do that. But I tell people, I can't be in crazy busy mode in the ER, and if that's the case, if I can do that in the ER, I can give people lessons for how everybody can deal with that in their everyday life.
Well, what are some of those? Because no one has time to meditate.
Right?
I mean, right?
Exactly. It's hard to find time. So for one thing, we do in the ER, we triage relentlessly. And so you have to focus what's really your reds, what's most important, and not what's noisiest. What's noisiest, maybe that email, that social media. It's not a red. If it's not a red, you do not focus on it. That's really important.
I love that. Not a red.
Yes.
All right. Can I just put everything aside as not a red?
Yes. And take the crazy busy score on my website. We'll get your score.
I love that. Actually, if you want to do that as well, it is drdaria.com. You can take this free quiz on how to better manage your stress. Dr. Daria Long.
And
thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Of course, Lynn. Thank you.